What up, Keeler?
Right? What it here?
Dude, I know. Jason was sitting there. I was like, don't mess with Keeler's bike too much.
Oh man, yeah.
This is what he does. He just grabs it and goes,
Oh yeah, look at it.
yeah.
Yeah,
And he likes to talk like this.
yeah. No, oh yeah, there we go. Yes, through the middle. Right and right.
I feel like it's been a while since we said that.
Yeah, it has.
It has.
Yeah.
I miss you, buddy.
Yeah, miss you too, Ryan. Miss you too. It's
I
been
have
fun.
way too much fun doing this.
Yeah, man, I've been having. Yeah, it's been a great time, Ryan.
Yeah. Have we
It's been
been on here since we hit 100 subs?
You know, oh yeah, I totally forgot we were at the 100 sub, man. Hey man, that pumped me up that day.
It
Hitting
did.
100 subs. That was fun.
I love it. We're famous to tens of people all the way to 100 now. That's so good.
Man, we stay famous, Ryan. We stay famous.
You know, it's weird. I feel like I definitely, and I feel like it is one of my jobs, is to kind of try to like put it out there better.
Yeah.
Like we have that Facebook page, and in spurts I'll use it. And,
Yeah.
and it goes dry.
I always forget about that. Hold on just a second, man.
You can take your hat off.
I'm trying to figure Yeah, there we go.
I
I'm
just
just gonna rock
realized
it with it down.
I'm not even wearing a hat, and
Yeah.
I all of a sudden feel very, very strange.
Yeah, because you always have a hat on, Ryan.
I do. It's weird.
Well, anyways, 100 subs, Ryan. What are we talking about, man? 100
Yeah,
subs.
100 subs. And
Pretty
so,
pumped about
so
that.
me,
Pretty
and it
excited.
probably is a lofty goal. I have no idea, but I of course I like to hear myself talk, so that helps. But sometimes I actually feel like we have something to say, right?
Yeah, we're famous,
that
man.
matters.
Yeah.
And so in my mind, it's like, well, then there's no reason in 2025 we can't get 1,000 subs.
Oh yeah, you shooting for the 1,000?
I just like it's a good round number, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if we're like, well, we could double and go to 200, is that
like
really a goal?
Set a little bit of a long term there. Would you consider that somewhat of a long term?
Well,
1,000
I
subs.
I had another Ryan come at me here before Thanksgiving and told me, he's like, and I think he's pretty in tune with the spirit, you know what I mean? He said, hold on, buddy, because this thing might take off. And I'm like, all right, whatever that means, you know.
Yeah, I don't know about that, man. You know, and like you say, man, I just like it's a good time,
I
Ryan.
think he likes what we have to say.
I have a blast. Plus, it's not like we're not, you know,
Yeah.
we don't have to do this. You know what I mean?
I want to do it. I love that I don't have to do this one thing. And so it is nice. So a lot of life's happened since the last time we were on here. We talked about angels.
Yeah, we did.
And
Angels
we were
was a good
deep
one.
into that for quite a while. You know what I love the most is even in random times, it's like when you send me something and it's like, and I like it if I haven't watched it, but I like it doubly as much if I'm like, oh, dude, I already watched that, right?
Yes, yes.
That connectivity of separation, because we haven't seen each other a lot.
Yeah, no, we haven't.
Through the summer, we ate together a lot for various reasons. We rolled quite a few podcasts. We just seemed to be in the same places at the same time, even into early fall, right? Up until we were about a year of doing this.
Pretty much.
But last winter was the same thing, wrestling season.
Oh yeah, just wintertime. Like, you know, like people would think, you know, you have time, but this, you know, you just don't have the time, man. It's tough, and then you prioritize, you know, things, and just, you know, it just kind of is what it is. Not to mention I had sickness too, man.
Well, the sickness.
If we're talking about the length there, man, dude, shortly after Thanksgiving, and man, everybody was getting sick.
Yeah.
Man, like everybody I knew was getting sick, and man, just right after Thanksgiving, it was like, man, I got rocked, man. Like I was down, man, and I mean,
I
running
think the
fever.
hardest thing for you was you were just recovering almost fully from previous injuries to where you're able to start getting back in the gym and run.
Yeah.
And then you were deathly ill.
Then I start getting back in. It's funny how that works too, man. Yeah, you start getting in the groove, and then boom, just rocketed. And then, man, I think, and I don't know how true this is, but it's I think I've heard it somewhere, but I don't know. I would think that when you lift weights, to me, you're kind of breaking yourself down so your immunities aren't as strong as they typically would, because your body's focusing on healing the muscles and things of that sort. So it's like when I start getting sick, then I have to, like you said, I have to quit. I don't lift weights. And then then
your focus changes for sure.
Right, man. And I got hit so hard that first week.
Push your limits comparably.
Well, yeah. Well, you got
you're
to.
highly disciplined to certain things like that. which I'm sure took time. That's when I was visiting with Jason earlier today, just about that very thing, because your dedication to it is such. I don't even know. I mean, I just don't know a lot of people that are as disciplined round in such a roundabout way.
Yeah,
I know people that go to the gym every day. Don't get me wrong,
right,
and they might even eat healthy somewhat, but
yeah.
on all these different levels, and I love that. I think that's well, I just love it. It's a beautiful thing to me. Yeah. It
Yeah.
keeps me in check of my minimum disciplines.
Yeah, and I don't know. I think about that. I do think about that at times. You know what I mean? It's just staying active, man. I don't know. It does something for me. Like I know that I'm out there trying to perform at my best. You know what I mean? The best that I have at that moment, doing my best that I can, and and that's what I kind of work at. So when you get into that mode where if you begin to miss that, then I internalize that as like, you know what I mean? I could have done better that day.
Oh yeah,
You know what I mean? And then everything else. And then, and then if you just go to the gym, like, or just, run, hit the gym, just work on that physical aspect of it and dive into that, which again brings about so much more anyways. But, you begin to, I don't know, man, you just have a shift. Like any problem that you have, like if you're down and out, man, depressed, having a bad time, hit the gym. You know what I mean? Hit the run. If you're happy, having a great time,
Right.
you know what I mean? Things are going great, man. Hit the gym, dude.
it's definitely better than hitting the bar.
Yeah, hit the gym. Like just get out.
Unless
man.
it's a taco
Crazy.
bar. There is, and I was honestly pouring through some scripture earlier today about not specifically like physical discipline.
Yeah.
Old Testament, New Testament, Paul touches on it a little bit, and then he even references it to quality of life of those things equals spiritual discipline also.
Yeah.
Because there is a certain amount of self-control that happens, right? I would say in your case, a large amount of self-control, because you could go do other things. You could come over and hang out in the bunker, right?
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Oh, yeah.
You could be like,
Oh, yeah. It's just
it could be your
prioritizing,
excuse
man.
and be like,
Yeah.
well, no time for the gym today. I'm gonna go hang out with Ryan and sit in the bunker, which is great. I love that, and I wish you would do it more. But that's selfish of me and not selfless, right?
Right.
And so yeah, I think it's remarkable. To me, I feel like you're in the wintertime is like kind of your training season, right? Because come spring, you're going to be running a lot of races.
Yeah. In like wintertime, I don't know. You kind of switch. I switch. I hit the weights hard.
Yeah.
I go more weights.
Yeah.
And I guess right now I'm on the bike, and I haven't ran a lot, since that injury. I mean, I run a little bit, but nothing like I was. But hitting the bike quite a bit.
So Jason asked me,
but
he said, how many miles do you think Keeler runs a year? He goes, you think he runs as many miles as you drive, Dad?
No
I
way.
chuckled.
There's
Like,
no way,
I mean,
man.
at some point,
There's a guy right now that's doing that.
oh, it doesn't surprise me. There's a pastor that just walks, and I mean, he records his miles, and it's remarkable.
Yeah.
And he's averaging probably, I would say he averages 10 miles a day. Now, obviously, some days he might only get one or two. But there's other days where he walks 30 or 40.
Yeah.
I mean, and he's 20 hours at it.
Yeah.
And there's a purpose behind it. And I admire his discipline for it. But and so I sat and thought about it, and I was like, on average, you easily run 10 miles a day. Because there's a lot of days where you run more than that, but there's also days where you don't run as many. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's
So then and Jason goes, dang, that's like 5,000 miles a year. I'm like, I mean, that's like Forrest Gump running, dude,
Yeah, that's a lot of running.
It is a lot of running.
Jeez, that's a lot of running. There's
You
people that
have
run
to-
out there though, man. They take it to whole nother
To
levels.
be able to
man.
do that, you have to be disciplined.
I mean, for sure. You have
Well,
to keep
your
it-
body would break down if you weren't.
Yeah, you have to.
If
I
weren't-
mean,
if you
yeah.
weren't healthy in other aspects.
Like hydration's got to be good, man.
Nutrients,
Nutrients,
micronutrients.
Electrolytes got to be on point, man. Rest
Yeah.
Rest is key because I mean, when you're putting that much work in too, man, you look at injuries too, man. So
Rest
I
is a
mean-
tricky deal for me. A few years ago, JVB presented the idea of that we work to rest. We don't rest to work. And for my
Right.
whole life, I rested to work.
No, you work
Right.
to rest. Yeah,
And I'm
I mean,
just
you
like-
should be so. Yeah, like I'm so like I don't. My dad, my dad's the same way, man. This guy, but he's always on the go too. Like he's
Right.
constantly on the go. When he hits the bed, boom! It's like you go to sleep, man. It's time.
Lights out.
Yeah, like I've exhausted every bit of energy within me. You know what I mean? Throughout this day, and speaking on that, and I was having this conversation the other day with somebody. I believe that you are given or provided or gifted for that matter. I mean, it is a gift ultimately.
Right.
It's a blessing for sure. So it's like, so if you're allowed this much energy this day, so you need to put forth that much energy.
Right.
You know what I mean? To eliminate that and burn that energy. And then as you awaken in the morning, as joy cometh in the morning, you're given this new burst of, you're provided with the energy and the necessary needs for that day to get through. So if you continuously using that, you know what I mean? You're either going to be given more, or, you're going to get refreshed energy every day.
Yeah,
so if you don't burn that, then that energy just sticks with you and then almost just starts becoming stagnant to a point.
Oh, it does. Yeah.
And then it starts, you know what I mean? So then you're not burning that,
but
man.
that's also more than just physical energy. That's your spiritual energy.
Oh yeah,
That's
it all
your mental
goes
health,
together,
physical
man.
health.
It's that one
Trinity,
fine-tuned
right.
machine, man. Yeah, that Trinity. You know what I mean? That Trinity. Yes.
Yeah. And that's something I recognize it scripturally speaking, Trinity, right?
Mm-hmm.
But to become more aware of where it plays out with other things, and to me, then it points directly back to God, of course, right?
Yeah. I mean, yes.
Yeah, so,
I know exactly.
but for some people, they would acknowledge a trinity of things, and not to be disparaging of people and their cultural beliefs, they'd be burning sage. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I mean, we burn incense, so somewhat similar, but the thought behind the incense is similar to the sage, but where the idea is going to me is where then you see what I'm saying. So if I'm burning sage to false gods versus something that would
but I think people
speaking Christian wise, you could look at it and be like, well, how's it any different? And
have you ever burned sage before?
In my life, yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I have too, man, for sure. I don't know that I've actually ever I don't know that I've ever lit the sage. No, I don't know, but I know I've grabbed it before and smelt it. I know I've had it in my house.
Bought wads of it.
You know what I mean?
And lit it.
Like I know, man, yeah. I think I don't know if they're doing anything to false gods. What I think they're doing is they're using it as an element. Well, I don't know what they use it, but my thought process when I come to it, how my thought process works, I guess, is they're just using it to allow to extinguish evil spirits within the house or something, or something. Right. Yeah, something on the spirit realms that's not setting quite right, and so they burn the sage to cleanse the room of this energy or whatever they have. I think you can. To my opinion, Ryan, I think you can to a point. If you believe in something. I believe ultimately that's what you should probably do, because that's what's going to probably work for you.
Possibly,
in those moments, man.
I think
if
so.
It's in your head or something. I don't know.
I wouldn't see it as I there again. I think at the end of the day, it comes down to what form of worship. So you think of things of you're going to have different, and there's a word for it, and I cannot think of it right now. There's form to worship, and then there's elements of worship that are physical. So for communion, for instance, you have wine or grape juice and bread.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? For baptism, you have water. That's a material thing, right? And so there is some similarities. But it's interesting, is my reliance on the sage doing the work, or is my reliance on the Holy Spirit doing the work? And the recognition of that. Am I using this medium, whatever you want to call it, and maybe that's a bad word to use for it, using this physical thing to help draw you into a spiritual thing, right?
Oh, yeah.
See what I'm saying? So it could go bad either way. You have to be careful. I don't
know. Burning sage, man, I don't know.
Why burn incense? How's it
I don't think it's going to be a big deal.
Is it much
in the day, man, it's not. I don't know, Ryan. I think at the end of the day, that's just not my concern, or that's just not the battle. That's not a battle I'm at the moment.
Well, I struggled with people that carried around anointing oil for a long time.
Yeah, see, I like anointed oils.
Yeah,
I do like that. So that would be almost kind of the same thing as some sage.
Very similar, right?
Man, I would too. That's pretty good. That's pretty good because they put the oil on you, and oils are good for the body. You know what I mean? They do. It does things.
I think there is some healing property to it. So
yeah,
I've been witness to and myself been anointed where what would be a great word for it? Crazy supernatural things happened, right?
Yeah.
So was the power of the
I
oil
like
or the
spiritual-
power in
I
this
like
in the spiritual
movements
presence?
there. Divine intervention, man.
Before we jumped on here, we were talking about Rogan and interviewing Mel Gibson, and you're about halfway through, and I don't know where this is at in that podcast, but have you got to the part where he's talking about the spiritual things, where there's a good supernatural spiritual force and a bad supernatural spiritual force,
Oh, we're just getting
and
there.
they were constantly at war?
Yeah, we're just getting there because he
Oh
was
my
talking about
gosh.
making a movie of
Yes,
about
that's
good
where he
and evil.
talks about it.
Yeah.
So that's the culmination at the end of it, obviously, and I can't wait for that to come out because
Yeah.
Passion was so good, but he hints on this idea of, and he doesn't expound on it a lot because otherwise, what would the point of his movie be? But he says, and they're fighting this huge raging battle. Whether I think even people that don't believe recognize it over us,
Yeah,
insignificant humans.
yeah.
Is that not just the craziest thing?
There are some good questions so far that what I've watched. Man, Joe Rogan's had some good questions. They've had some good conversation.
Rogan is the top guy for podcasts for good reason.
And I like how his. I've liked his little run of people here lately. Like I'll watch some Rogan, but I've watched it more here lately because I'll usually only tune into Rogan if there's somebody I want to hear,
Right.
or if I see a familiar name or something. Somebody I want to listen to. So I'll plug it in, or just something I want to hear somebody's thoughts and
Yeah.
whatever else. I just want to hear a conversation with him. But it was they hit the Trump man. Came through with the VP and then
Vance.
then they had Elon Musk on.
They've had Jordan Peterson.
Yeah.
Matt, I mean, all the Daily Wire guys. Jordan
nice little
Peterson
run, man.
Numerous times. Wes Huff.
And then the West Huff, which now we're starting. It's like it's slowly like leaning in towards more people that are believers. You know what I mean? Without a doubt, are been going in and actually have a good story behind them, good backgrounds, man, and just just well-spoken people, man.
Joe is so good at what he does because he pulls people that are going to talk about mainstream news, but yet he pulls people for himself because he has questions.
Well, yeah, he's trying to learn too, man. He's seeking, dude. Because you listen to Joe, I mean, he's seeking, and that's what I always say.
We've talked about.
Yeah, I don't care what you're doing as long as you're seeking out there, man. That's to me that's like eventually. I think if you're out there seeking, you will ultimately eventually run into Jesus Christ, because if you're seeking things in the spiritual areas of life and just how things are working as far as creation and these miraculous just wonders of how what we see and how we live and like all the past history, the creation of the universe, the world, the earth, us, like if you start looking for answers on that, you will run into Jesus.
I think so.
Ultimately,
I mean, is it such
Yahweh,
a surprise? The
you
Creator?
will meet Yahweh. You will see God. You know what I mean? Or you won't necessarily see God, but you will begin to have a relationship with Christ, with God, and then you're gonna start finding out things, man.
I think,
And however that looks for you, you know what I mean. You are at where you are at, and where you probably need to be, where you should be, and and look to ways to move forward, man. I love it. And then the fact that they're talking about this on the Rogan show, it's just blow. Dude, I just love hearing about God. I love hearing true believers come up on a most popular station, and Joe actually acknowledging the persecution that the church still has true Christians that are Christians. If you call yourself a Christian, that how you're attacked.
you don't have to go very far back watching his podcast and his show where he was the persecutor.
Yeah,
he almost is going to have this Saul Paul moment, dude.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
See, I don't know that I've ever seen him be a persecutor of much.
Oh my goodness. I watched an hour's worth of clips of him.
Yeah, of course, people say a lot over the years, man. And it's just like, and I've said a lot too.
Well, and the gist of it was to show
makes it even better.
Show the evolution of how God works in these crazy ways. And the reality is God very well could have put a calling on Joe Rogan's life at a very young age. Yeah. And he took this path like we all do, right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden now he's coming back, and this journey is this huge testimony, right? Can you imagine though? Like, all of a sudden he comes out and he was like, you know what? This is
may God be glorified. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, what if he
in
leads
God's
out?
way.
Yeah.
Like allow God to move it and work it, and
Could
allow
you
God to be
imagine
glorified and use me in such ways,
the
man.
people
Yeah.
swayed, and it comes right down to like
Yeah.
in John 14, where it says that you will do greater things. And a lot of people attribute that verse to the number of people you can minister the gospel to, right? Jesus' life was short, disciples' life short. Even the persecution of early believers made their lives extremely short in comparison. Like instead of living maybe 60 or 70 years,
Yeah.
they were living like
Yeah.
35 or 40.
Yeah.
And
Hard knocks, you know what I mean?
so it's
Yeah.
very I love it. Yeah, so good. I enjoy podcasts. Like
Yeah.
I watch quite a few different ones.
Yeah,
but,
especially when they're talking about like I like history. You know, when they start talking about like old things, old ways,
I found a
how
good
things
channel.
operated and worked. Man, like that intrigues me, man, and I really like to hear that because it kind
I
of tells
can
you where
lose
you're from. You know what I
hours in
mean?
that.
Yeah, it tells you where you're from, where we're from, and it kind of takes you back, like you said. Yeah, you go back and back in time, like in how things have changed and how people try to manipulate things and like.
Right.
Get called out, you know what I mean? Like it's wild, and how they even go about like trying to figure out what's fraudulent about something, and
And they're so
you know,
good
what's
at it.
truth about this, and how this operates. Like, yeah,
And it's
Yeah.
not. There's some science behind it, but there's also this air of reasonable common sense, right?
yeah,
So a lot of what I've been tuning into because of the whole Wes Huff and Billy Carson and following that, and then I had seen Huff on some different things, but never really paid attention to his channel or anything until that. And then you start. So for me, it's like here is God at work because it did bring me a desire. Because a few years ago, like I was just really digging church history and searching and trying to understand how we got to different points of divisions and Protestant reformations and why there's all these different whatever reflections of God and faith, blah blah blah, so on. And so it reignited that for me. So it's always good in that aspect in my personal life. And then I mean I could be watching way worse stuff probably. So, but it is fun. I mean I don't know.
Stop provoking, man.
Well, I think we have a right to ask the questions.
You should be asking questions, man. I wouldn't say,
And-
yeah, you have the right, and you should be asking questions.
Well, I think
man.
so. I mean, even from a church aspect, I have been to churches where I asked questions of elders, higher ups, and sometimes I'll admit I didn't like their answer, and so then maybe I was grumpy about it. But other times I found that they really didn't have the answer, and that bothered me. And that is kind of what motivated me to kind of start digging. And I don't know, there for a while in early 2019, I really, really thought, and I still do, I think sometimes about it and this, but I really thought that I needed to preach, teach, whatever. But I didn't know how all that shook out right at the time. So like I was taking some seminary classes and reading certain things and sitting under certain people. Really, and then all in one day, I was just dead stop. I was like, I'm not ready for this, the recognition.
Yeah.
But now I kind of have had that reignited a little bit in certain
Good, man.
aspects. I think
Yeah,
it is
good.
good. You know what I miss more than anything, and it sounds stupid, and Trish and I moved to this house because it had more room to have more people over. And we literally have had no one over really to do the things that we did. I super miss doing our Bible study with our core group of guys.
Yeah, the Bible study was good.
It was a lot of fun, and
I
I
like
think
it.
it was definitely fun when we were doing it at my dad's house.
Yeah, that was the best, man.
And the fact that he sat through it made me happy.
Yeah.
And just the whole thing leading up to it, like I was going to use his house because he was supposed to be at a different Bible study. 40 years old, I'm like sneaking into my dad's house to have a Bible party. It's how I felt about it. But I did enjoy reading my Bible and studying and doing those things. But I really, really got more out of the fellowship and the knowing of that I'm not alone in this journey. I'm not alone in this walk. I'm not alone in the seeking part.
For real though, right. You can have some like-minded conversation, man. Yeah.
From so many different views, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. See
and how it
different
affects your
perspectives,
life.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you're like, whoa, man, I've never seen it like that. I never,
Right.
or just, yeah, it's just good to hear, man.
Especially when we first
Yeah.
started and the group was big. But
Yeah.
then at the end of the day, it was just me and you.
Well, after,
You know?
I mean, it led to that eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's fine. because that's what led
Yeah.
to this.
I guess so.
Well,
True
really, we
story.
showed up for Bible study
Yeah.
and we talked about it
Yeah.
for months and months, and then
Ah,
you're
true
like,
story,
we
right?
did that, and then even I think that same day you poked the button to order that.
Yeah, it was good times, man.
You know, and
Yeah.
and in aspects, I feel like we've come a long ways, not with the excluded middle, but with our personal lives that have gotten us. It's given me some purpose. At the time when you sat down, I think this is gonna make me emotional. I talked about this earlier, Trish. At the time that we started this, I felt so like I had zero purpose. You know what I mean? And I had thought about podcasts for a couple of years. Blah blah blah. We sat down, had that meeting. That, you know what I mean? And so it couldn't have happened at a better time for me. Right?
I like purpose, man.
It did. It gave me some purpose, and a lot of things happened between
The purpose.
that first podcast and now, definitely. And so yeah. So
And you know how I wrap up purpose, Ryan? Because
I can't wait to hear this.
yeah, dude, I say it all the time too. But like how I look at purpose, man, because I always thought long and hard on my purpose too. You know what I mean? For the longest time, and I think it's just a matter of whatever we're doing, and I'd say whatever you're doing in the moment, you know, and eventually, obviously, what you're doing in the moment, you know, begins to bring about that life, because you know, life is coming from within us. You know,
Right.
it's coming from us, not at us.
Right.
You know what I mean? So basically, the purpose should be just to impact the well-being of others.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if you're working in such a fashion that you're looking to impact the well-being of others,
Right.
like that's just going to create ripples, man.
And see, I'm hyper over blessed that I have a job that I get paid to do that.
Yeah.
It does suck me dry. I'm not gonna lie.
But you shouldn't. You shouldn't allow. See, man, I don't know, man.
Well, it's
Like,
very taxing on you emotionally to wear some of the empathy that comes with
yeah.
it. You know what I
But
mean?
then you shouldn't. Then if it's wearing you down like that, then you should have to try to not attach yourself to. I don't know what you should do, but like to me, I
it
would
comes
think.
down to the empathy curse,
Yeah, man, but
slash gift thing.
But you should still be able to. Yeah, I mean, you are a vessel of the light of Christ that lives within you. You know what I mean? That dwells within you. So you should be at that just constant, just filling. You know, leave yourself open for
Well,
that.
if I didn't have that feeling, I wouldn't be able to do what I do.
Right. So you just continuously move through that fashion, I guess. I don't know. That's
It's
how I kind of
difficult, too.
operate.
So I have a friend that I work with. That he's a devout believer, I would say. I see him often, and maybe he turns it on just when I get there, but he is always watching a Christian channel on cable.
Yeah.
It's always on. Praise. Anytime I talk to him, I called him last week, bro, I'm not feeling good. I'm not going to be in today. I'll pray for you. That's his first response.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, I love that. And so I have a really, really good rapport and relationship because we have that in common. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But then at the same time, older gentleman, been through a lot. When he's struggling and I'm visiting and trying to help him through that, I think the blessing comes that I can understand and feel the struggle with him instead of just like reading a book and being like, here's the answer. Does that make sense?
Right.
So,
Yeah,
so,
you meet him where he's at, man. Yeah. That's what
But
you do,
definitely,
man. You do that well, Ryan.
Yeah, I do. And I so there again, I mean, I can't.
It's
If
that
I
empathy
denied-
that you have. You know what I mean? It's that compassion I think you have
If
for
I
that.
denied
For the,
that
for
gift,
the least
I
of
think I would
these.
be more miserable.
Yeah, for the least of these, man. Yeah.
Well, line 1, line 2.
That's what I
and
mean. Yeah.
all
And you,
those
and you,
things play into
yeah,
it.
yeah, you do good at that, man.
One
But
of the
really, you do
things-
good at that.
That Jason and I talked about earlier was like my lack of. So I had a guy come at me, and I've had it a lot of times in my life, and I'm sure you have too, and not just the Mormons and Jehovah's Witnesses knocking your door, but just in random, you'll meet somebody and they'll
I
be
was
like,
thinking of stories.
do you know Jesus Christ or whatever? So
Yeah.
a couple 3 weeks ago, old guy, we're visiting a little bit, just small talk. Weather sucked. It was rainy. Blah blah blah. He goes, "Do you like to talk about spiritual things?" And I was like, "Well, I like to talk about Jesus things." And he, so that's ignites this conversation. But in my mind, I was like, how forward of this dude, and that's not my nature really.
Yeah.
Like to just lead out with that, and he was good about it. And so then it made me feel a little conviction, about it. Like maybe I need to do that more. At one time, I was handing out Bible tracts and stuff. I have a box full of them.
What do you think about this is my struggle here lately. As far as like you're talking about, you know what I mean? So here's my struggle, and I understand why they're doing it, but here's one of my struggles here lately. as I'm driving down the street and I see all those guys on the corner holding big old crosses and stuff like that. For some reason, that has just been getting on my nerves, man. Like, it's kind of been annoying, just annoying
It
to
depends
me.
on the corner and the guy.
I'm just all like, man, I don't know.
You know,
And
I have
it's-
a
it's-
person I hold
yeah.
very dear to my heart that does that. I don't agree with it. I think he's an angry person.
Yeah.
But I have seen some guys that are on the corner that aren't yelling at people through speakers. They're literally just standing there
Yeah.
with a box of Bibles.
They are too, man.
And that bothers me less.
Dude,
right?
it bothers you less, but that, I still find it just a little annoying, and I don't know why. It's again, this is something I have to work out, and I am in process of doing so. But it's just all like, and and it's okay, but it's just like these guys, like they just stand. I don't know, man. It's just like, come on, man. But the more I get it, like there's probably somebody though. Like I think about it, if you're doing that, this is what that I think is good about it, because I imagine there's probably an individual that walks by him or drives by that's probably in a bad spot maybe,
Yeah.
and just needs that in that moment. And if that brings that person, that if that impacts that person's
Right.
well-being, then I guess stand on that corner
So-
and do your thing and allow me just to step back, because you know what I mean. Obviously, that's just something in me that needs work
Right.
on. Especially like that, like why does that bother me? I don't know. And normally it doesn't. Like the guy, the speaker, like I'm just like I was chuckling, so I don't know, man. Just here lately,
Right,
it's been
yeah.
just annoying to me
I
for
subscribe.
some weird reason.
I watch his channel.
Oh.
He's got it. I think there's better ways, definitely.
Well, no, and I don't know. Yeah, I would say so.
maybe it's just
but
me
that
that I
would
don't
be
want to.
from your perspective or whoever's. But like,
Yeah.
maybe for them in that moment,
It's not.
like that's
it's
what they
not-
need to do. So
It's
like,
not my calling to stand.
and they're
on the
not
corner.
doing nothing bad. They're not hurting nobody. They're not
No,
doing nothing. So why those, like, it's just like something in me. I'm like, I just find that annoying there. Nothing more than that. Just kind of like a little, like just a little twig. But
Yeah.
and I don't know why that is.
So
But whatever.
yeah,
Stay tuned. I'll figure it out maybe, or
I
just
had,
go away.
I had a very. And she's still around. She has incredible, and we've talked about it on the podcast, incredible miracle story. Older lady, and she always has a case of Bibles with her, and she just hands them out to people. And she always, well, I won't say always, typically writes a note in them. So, used to go to Fifth and Monroe quite a bit to Coffee Corner, and another lady comes in with a box of Bibles to donate in Coffee Corner for us to hand out. And I like to thumb through them, see what people's notes are.
Yeah.
So I pick up this Bible,
He said,
and I open it, and here's this note that says, "To this particular person, I hope that this will help you find some peace on your journey. I'm here for you,
oh, that's pretty cool.
Cheryl."
Yeah.
So in the meeting,
Nah.
the girl that
Got me
this
right
is written to definitely is a denier. She is not even remotely close to a spot where she would probably open that Bible. But her mom's sitting right here, right?
Yeah.
And so it was weird. And then, of course, I know all the people. And, of course, immediately I called Cheryl. I was like, "You wouldn't believe what just happened." And she remembered meeting this particular individual. But what it did for this girl's mom at this moment in time gave her such a peace that someone cared for her daughter.
Oh yeah, man.
So if that was the only
That's all I'm saying.
purpose,
Woo.
I get goosebumps
Yeah.
up. But yeah, I don't know.
That make you feel all warm and fuzzy, like, man.
But she wasn't standing
Yeah.
out on a corner like throwing them in people's windows, like
Yeah.
you know.
I
So,
don't know,
yeah,
man.
it does.
I don't know.
Sometimes
Yeah, I
it
don't
rubs
know,
me
man.
the wrong way for different reasons, and maybe it's something I have wrong with me. It could be. Probably
Exactly.
is.
I think so. That's how I take it. Like, I don't think that's a big a deal, and I think
I
they should.
don't-
I think they should have the right to do that. Feel free to do so. But I just
Yeah.
something I'm struggling with. I'm like, why does that annoy me?
definitely should have the right because we're in America.
Maybe it's just because I drive by and I just think they're staring at me. Maybe I'm like, what are you doing? Yeah, I'm kidding,
Really could be
man.
that.
Yeah, no, they're definitely not looking at me or nothing.
I've
Just
never
me,
stopped.
man. Just me.
When I see him, I just try to smile and give him a thumbs up. And
I
wave.
don't. I'm just like,
Yeah,
man.
because good for them, but
Yeah,
definitely not where I'm feeling called
yeah.
to be.
It's not there yet.
Maybe, yeah, I don't know. I think that there will. I think that will be maybe in our lifetime there might become a time where we are. Should I say required? I don't know. Burdened, convicted by the Holy Spirit that we might have to do that.
Yeah, I was going to ask
Right.
that. What if God told you to go out there and do it? I mean,
Well,
I
right
guess.
now, what I feel like God is telling me to do is somewhat of what I'm doing. So like Trish and I here coming up in February are going to teach a NAMI class, which really teaches itself. We're more facilitators than teachers, I guess, actually be more correct way to acknowledge it. And I have the last 2 days, it's been heavy on my mind. I've been praying about it a lot because, of course, we want people to come. 2 people are signed up. We need 8 minimum. 10 or 12 would be better, you know. But there's like this part of me is like, I don't really even want to do it, you know. But I know, well, for lots of reasons. One, I'm doing it because some people asked and some people told me. And the people that told me trump the people that asked. You know what I'm saying? And there again, like I am good at it. You know, I like to hear myself talk, so it's a perfect opportunity for that to happen to feed my ego.
Right.
But I've gone twice and I got something out of it that changed me. And then of course it's at Mary Mag, so that changes things too because it's a highly spiritual place. So someone that might come in that doesn't know God well or something, just walking through the door, I've seen it enough times now that it sways people. Sometimes for just a smidgen of time, and sometimes people have been going for 4 years, right?
Right.
I mean, I guess I would be that person because I've been going pretty well.
Yeah, man.
I don't know my life. I don't know what my life would be like right now without it.
Right.
Right. And that's because God served there. I think it matters. And so yeah, but
man, I do. Man, God's like one of my favorite things, man. It's probably my favorite thing. It is my favorite thing. I do like.
The majority of my conversations usually end with that.
Yeah.
Because I've had opportunities at work and I'll just be honest, I'm kind of a shithead, you know.
Yeah.
I do kind of have this terrible mouth and sometimes I laugh at jokes I shouldn't laugh at, and the book tells me not to be that person. But when I'm in my struggle and I show up and you know, when people ask me like, why are you so good at what you do? I was like, well, honestly, it's weird. I read this book and they think it's going to be like some psychological manual or something. I was like, it's called the Bible. I said, you can find the answers to everything in there. And they're like, oh, you go to church? Yeah. Go to Mary Magdalene house. Oh, you're Catholic? I said, no, not really. I'm Catholic-ish, you know. I said, but all Catholic means is universal. Oh, really? I didn't know that. So you're not Roman Catholic? No, I'm not really Catholic.
Yeah, it does open up conversation, huh?
And so then over time, and this is more like, I get these interactions with these people every day, you know, and so I don't know. It does, and I think you get to experience some of that probably just in random ass times. It's like a truck driver comes in, and all of a sudden, the next thing you know, you're like 8 minutes into a theological conversation.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, wow.
It does happen, Ryan. It does happen.
Some rando from Florida, hotshot truck driver, he gets it. He reads his Bible. It makes you feel good, though,
yeah,
right?
No,
like,
you
definitely. Holy smokes.
Yeah, we're going to go ahead and say Jason used the mic today. And then all of a sudden, I have changed nothing to what I do. Jason uses the mic.
All of a sudden, we probably should get close to wrapping it up anyways.
This happens.
Time and
you know?
So let's briefly talk about what we're going to try to do. Maybe people will be excited and they'll like actually subscribe. Get us to 1,000.
And we're already at 100 subs, man. People are subscribing, Ryan.
If we can get, you
get this far, like the video.
Yeah.
Give us a.
But we want to try to do better about getting stuff up and out and add some things since we're comfortable with some of I know I feel terrible about it. He had one job.
No. Don't feel terrible. It's all good, Ryan. Yeah.
So
like I said, it was Jason, man. He played with the mic today and he said it. He did something.
Well, you should have seen him sit down. He was sitting clear back in the corner and like pulled the mic clear out. I was like, you need to get up here, bro.
Yeah. See, man. So, yeah. See the truth. The stories are coming out now, man. He's
so fun.
Yeah. It's all right.
Yeah. I don't know if that'll air.
Might have to get like a new stand or something maybe that holds this thing.
Yeah.
This thing's all wobbly, dude. Like,
well, it's because we'll talk about that later, not on here. It's wobbly. You're gonna get crazy with it.
No, I'm just gonna get it fixed here. I mean, it just fell, Ryan.
I know it.
It had a huge fall.
I love you, Keeler.
Ooh, that's what we need to do. I need to unplug this, tighten this up.
Well, you can do it that way. But
Hold
yeah.
on. All right. Anyways,
No, let's just wrap it, dude.
to be
We've been on
continued.
for
Yeah.
45 minutes.
That's what I mean.
So we're going to do better. We're going to upload more stuff. We're going to talk about more pertinent things. We're going to just do what we do, which is fun.
Yeah,
We're
man.
going to get some better mic stands and some better equipment.
Hey, man.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
From the bunker.
All right, man.
We could have ran live.
Yeah.
Thank God
Oh, yeah, we
didn't.
could have. Yeah. One love, Ryan.